now former Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner, also Economic Policy Innovation Center Fellow, William Beach. William, you got too many titles for me. We'd be here all day. Hey, Bill, let me talk to you about your note. You mentioned a slowdown in basic factors markets could have a significant implication for the entire economy. So let's talk about what are these implications now that we should be bracing for?
Well, I mean, just like in the last time we were looking at, some pretty good news in the summer of 2007 and fall. But one of the things we noticed was that there was real stress on household budgets. A lot of business loans and business credit were at risk. Everybody was trying to explain why this wasn't a problem, just like now. I think that's another indicator that we may be sliding down. And the trend in the data, labor data, output data, was sort of in the direction of slowdown. Well, I'm looking at the same stuff, and look, the Federal Reserve just reported that 40% of, at least maybe 40% of business loans are at risk now, and this will be the largest since 2007. Non-household debt, that is the kind of stuff we spend on which is not related to our mortgages, that's now rising much faster than household debt. There's a lot of leverage in this economy. We had $8 trillion worth of deficits, right, and that money's been going out all over the place. So when the economy is slowing, and I think it's really slowing dramatically, to be honest with you, all of that leverage becomes at risk. As we found in December of 2007, the house starts to unravel, the cards start to fall in a certain direction. That's why I think it feels a lot like 2007, Charles.
So with that in mind, let's talk about 2007, right? On the cusp of the great financial crisis. We don't really like to talk about that. Of course, I want you to sort of elaborate then what happened. Obviously, we know what happened next, but sort of talk about this because you talk about the massive amounts of subsidies out there that have driven and the leverage in this economy. All the time on this show and on this network, we talk about the deficits and debts. Then you look at the housing market, low equity investments. I mean, it does feel like a cauldron of something that could become something much worse.
Yeah, and that's what bothers me. So in the build-up to the 2007 or 2008 recession, however you want to call it, the world was awash with credit, and a lot of that was because central banks were expanding the money supply in order to support the growth, which was in some places waning or not as strong as they wanted. Plus the Asian financial crisis, nobody remembers that, but that had brought a lot of money in during the period 2000 through 2006 into the United States. So what happened? Massive amounts of building went on, and a lot of it was highly leveraged. Banks had a lot of credit, or they could issue these financial instruments, very creative financial instruments that were based on flimsy credit, and they got away with it. And we didn't really see that happening. We kind of had a sense of it. And then by 2006 and 7, certain things began to happen. Households became stressed, as I mentioned, but some of the banks, smaller ones, began to fail. We had some even failures of some larger institutions. They weren't entirely failures.
Right.
So the thing began to unravel, Charles. We have that same financial structure today. It isn't quite the same as it was, but the money's there.
Right.
And I think you've had a lot of really state and local governments have built a lot of stuff. They're heavily leveraged. We haven't seen a problem there for a long time, but I think we might be looking at it. We have construction in non-residential activities as a result of the Infrastructure Act. Lots of just billions and billions of dollars are going into that area. So you have to be concerned. You can't put your finger on any one thing, but that's what's typical of a peak that has now turned into a contraction. And one more thing. Today we learned from BLS, their diffusion index says whether an area is growing or not. For manufacturing, that manufacturing diffusion index is now below 50%, right, which means that manufacturing is in a contraction.
There's been so much negative manufacturing news, which has been a shocker. I do want to remind the audience, so the 3-month average of private sector hiring was 146,000. Right. Now it's 96,000. And I would say that's no one's definition of normalization. No. Bill, thank you very much. Always appreciate your expertise. Thank you.
You're welcome, Charles.